Hello everybody, my name is Nathan and welcome to our podcast. Today with me I have Margaret, Shane and Kevin, and today we are going to be talking about some serious political and social issues. So, my first question to Kevin is, do you think the voting age should be reduced to 16?
In my opinion, I do think the voting age should be reduced to 16, but there are some cases where some teenagers may not be politically developed, like they might not have a good sense of their political standpoint in their country, or maybe because if we're only talking about Ireland here, for myself, I've heard basically nothing about the upcoming elections this couple of months, so it's kind of hard for me to say if should I vote now rather than should I wait another couple of years, maybe see where I can go with politics and get more educated on the subject rather than hear nothing about it and then just blindly vote.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering, do you know much about the politics or the election that's coming up? Because I myself only found out about it today.
I've known about it for a little bit, but I've little to no information about it. I've none. So it's just hard to form an opinion on. I think it should be reduced, but as I said, it should be broadly more advertised to teenagers, where they need to understand what's going on, what the elections are, you know what I mean? Yeah. The details about the elections, who the people are, it needs to be easily accessible for people to understand.
Shane, how about you? What's your opinion on this?
I think that it should stay at 18 because I think 16 is a bit too early. If people started teaching teenagers about politics and everything, they'll understand more before they get to vote, because if they're 16 they're still learning other stuff, and then with that on top of it. But if they waited till if it was still at 18, then they'll have more time to know more about it. Because I knew about the election that's coming up, but I just didn't hear anything about it. I didn't know what it was about.
Do you think politics should be covered more in schooling in the country? Shane?
I don't know.
What about you, Kevin?
I think it should. I think it should be kind of like a politics class, not so maybe just a whole period dedicated to politics, but CSP covers way more than just politics. It does. But what I'm saying is there should be one, maybe it doesn't have to be throughout the year, maybe just before elections, you get to know who the candidates are, maybe the different parties, and you understand who you're voting for and what their views are as a one kind of block area, instead of just whereas if CSP, where it's a class every week or so of multiple different subjects. It might be just politics, but maybe social stuff, and obviously CSP, what it stands for. So,
well, if you see right now, even if you go outside about 5 minutes up the road, you'll see about 10 posters of politicians who are looking for the vote for the election. Do you think this is a good way of spreading their influence?
I think they've been doing the same thing for the past, I can't remember how many years. I think it's a bit outdated, to be honest. I think they should do it, but on top of that, it should add a new kind of method to advertise who they are, why you should vote for them. You shouldn't just put out saying, "Oh yeah, vote number 1 for me." You don't know anything about me. You don't know what I'm advocating for. You don't know what my views are. You just say, "Vote number 1 for me," and especially because we were saying we really don't know anything about the elections, young people, that it's kind of hard to say that you want to give your number 1 vote when you're 18 to someone who you don't really know much about.
Well, that's a very good point you made there about them just kind of being on the posters and their party and not much about them all. And as we all know, politicians do promise some pretty radical things for the country. And do you think some of them are pretty bad liars when it comes to stuff like this?
Oh yeah, 100%. A lot of them say it to kind of boost their popularity status, to try and get in, and then once they get in, say they not make up a reason why they can't do it, but say something came up, for example, Donald Trump, when he got elected into office, or when he became president, he made excuses saying the wall was too expensive to build. And I know that's a controversial subject, but it is what happened, and he can't get it up now. He's trying to, but as I said, for the people who supported him and wanted that wall, I'm not one of them. he basically just lied to them, and there's none that they gave their vote for him, and he didn't deliver on his promises. So that happens probably everywhere.
Shane, what's your opinion on some politics being well-known liars?
I don't know, like obviously everything they say can't be true. Like they're going to say stuff and then they end up making some excuse that they can't do it. But yeah, that's all.
Yeah, because like I myself, I know basically nothing about politics. I barely even know the parties. But when I go outside and I see these posters and I see just random people smiling on it with their party, it tends to confuse me, especially when CSP is a thing in school that does cover politics. But like you said, it covers a wider range of politics. But I've found that it's actually very poorly taught. Do you think the same?
I think locally for Irish politics, it's a bit poor. As I said, there should be like an information kind of, maybe not a day, but like an information area of before elections in schools where they educate on who they are and whatever. But CSP, I think it's a class more for international politics and international social and all that. And obviously there's obviously teachings from Ireland in the book, but that's my opinion. I think it's that.
Well, thank you all for listening to a podcast. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today, but yeah, thank you for listening.